And the best impression of the Reverend Jolly? Well, hello. I'm James Madden Hatter. I have been nominated by my friends Mark over at House of Hengist and Stig to do a video on my 3 hobbies outside of wargaming. Both of these individuals know how happy I am always to talk about my hobbies, and they also know how much joy I take from doing videos, hence they nominated me. To my 2 so-called friends, I pass on the message that my vengeance shall be swift, and that revenge is a dish best served cold. Anyway, hobbies for myself outside of wargaming. I struggle with that a bit. I've thought about it since the first videos went up a few weeks ago. I'm a very focused individual, as my 2 friends mentioned. My interest lies in Normandy and Operation Totalised towards the end, with the beginning of August 1944, towards the end of the campaign, really, and the subsequent operations round about Tractable and the closing of the Flay Gap. Although I have recently branched out to start looking at Epsom as well. So I mainly do 15mm World War II stuff. I do a lot of research and reading around about that, so that's a huge aspect of the actual wargaming hobby for me. I generally partake in painting chats with some friends. We have a Facebook group, Miniature Modelling Mayhem. Not been doing many recently, as you can probably tell from the mess behind me and the books over there, the boxes. I am currently in the process of moving house, which will be taking place at the end of this month. So all the paints and things have all been packed away. So that's what my war game is focused on. I do dabble in other things. I've got some Necromunda, some 3mm sci-fi, some 3mm and 6mm Cold War gaming. So there's a few different things that I do touch upon, but generally speaking, 15mm World War II Normandy is where my real interests are. So closely linked, kind of the reason I got back into historical wargaming is one of my hobbies is researching my grandfather's regiment. He served as a Sherman tank driver in 144 Royal Armoured Corps as part of 33rd Armoured Brigade. So he took part, along with the Highland Division, in Operation Totalised, and he fought with the regiment all the way through the course of the war, from their arrival in Normandy till the end, basically. He demobbed in Italy when the unit was eventually moved to northern Italy to guard against incursions from communist partisans from Yugoslavia. Of all the odd things to end up doing, that's what he was. He met my gran in Scotland in 1943 when his unit was there exercising near Lismahago. They married in March 44. May 44, I think it was. It would have been May 44. They had initially planned to get married in June, but the family story goes that when my grandfather asked his officer for permission, he was told that June wouldn't be a good date and to get married before that, which he did. So they got married in May. He had a week or so's leave, and then he was off to the continent, and he remained more or less on the continent until February or March 1945, just before the Rhine, or round about the Rhine crossing time, and before or after, I can't remember. He came back for my uncle's birth, for his christening, on leave, and then he was back out again until I think 46 or something like that, when he eventually demobbed. So his regiment isn't one that there's a huge amount of written material about. It's not as fancy as Guards Armoured, or as famous as 7th or 11th Armoured. Despite the fact that 33rd Armoured Brigade took part in a lot of fighting through Normandy, they were arguably involved in more serious actions than the likes of the useless Guards Armoured Division. But not a huge amount written about them, as after the war They became 4 RTR, 4th Royal Tank Regiment, around about the Rhine Crossing kind of time, and the history really focuses on the 4th Royal Tank Regiment rather than 144 Royal Armoured Corps. So I do a lot of time, a lot of researching on that, both on the internet and in person. I've been down to Bovington last year, spent a whole day in the archives there reading everything that they had on the regiment, which again wasn't a lot. Future aims are to get to Preston, I believe it is, where I think there might be records, as the unit prior to being a Royal Armoured Corps regiment was actually the 8th Battalion of the East Lancashire Regiment. So yeah, that's a big hobby for me. Not quite family research, but kind of particular military research into that unit, and what they were involved in, what they did, how they were made up, all that sort of stuff. I also, in addition to that, spend a lot of time reading just general military history, some fiction, some fantasy. So reading is a big part of what I do outside of the actual wargaming itself. As an example, I'm currently reading a book about the operations, the setup and the tactics and the technology evolved through the 8th Air Force in the UK during World War II. So that's kind of unrelated to my normal wargaming, but and the other thing I do a lot of is role playing. I play 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons once a fortnight, and I run a game once a week for that, and I play 2nd edition Dungeons and Dragons once a fortnight as well. I've been a role player for a lot of years, starting when I was in high school. I used to do a lot of live action role play. I actually ran a vampire LARP in Glasgow for a while, and I used to go to the Gathering and Aftermath and things like that. So done a bit of that, not done any live action stuff in a while, but I still do a lot of tabletop gaming, although tabletop is now on the internet, using Roll20 and cameras and stuff, which is fantastic. Has allowed me to maintain a game that I play with my friends in Scotland, and have been playing since about 2000. So despite the fact I moved to England in 2015, I've still managed to join their fortnightly games and continue to play, which has been brilliant. So really reading, just generally reading. I spend a lot of time reading. Painting, which I do a huge amount of, researching. Not so much time playing games, which we try to rectify this year by sorting out our own space kind of locally, which we try and get a game in once a month. And I'm very ably and usefully helped in that by both Dave and Martin, and the other guys at the Old Guard War Games Club in North Allerton. I do my role playing, and whenever I get the opportunity I do my research as well. So on for me to nominate some victims. I am going to nominate 2 people. The first person is my absolute favourite YouTube channel to unsubscribe to, in the form of Gary over at Marksman Gaming. Gary is particularly enthusiastic about 1/7/2 scale plastic models, the type I used to play with when I was a teenager or younger. But he takes them and turns these crappy, horrible soft plastic Airfix kits, and he turns them into these painted, horrible plastic Airfix soft plastic kits. But he does it with such enthusiasm that it's quite endearing. I, as someone who's extremely focused in my hobby, I can really appreciate where Gary's coming from with it, as much as I enjoy ribbing him for it and kind of taking the piss a little bit. I do appreciate what he does and why he does it. So I will nominate Gary to tell us what he does outside of his hobby. I'll also nominate my favourite Canadian by far, Dennis, over at Matt Varnish. Dennis does actually have my appreciation of clump foliage on models. We regularly enthuse about models covered in clump foliage together. I know that he enjoys aviation stuff as well, so I'd be interested to hear what sort of stuff he gets up to as well. And with that, that's me. The missus is kind of pottering about in the background waiting for me to finish. So I'll call it quits there, guys. Thanks very much, and I'll catch you another time.